Hi there, we've got a 15-minute bite-sized workout ahead. It's a nice, slow, stretchy start. We have a Tabata set in the middle and then a nice stretch at the end. So we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, and I guarantee you will feel better for moving. Let's get started. Start with a squat. We're just going to sit here for a little bit and just take elbows into the side of our knees to open up through hip flexors before walking our hands out. You're going to find yourself in a plank position. So gaze is neutral, wrists are underneath your shoulders. You're just going to tip forward on your toes and then lean back, hips stay low. Do that again. We want to make sure our core is activated through this. Have a play around with your foot positioning. This is harder with your feet together, so just have an experiment. Try with your feet really close and see how that changes it. And then you're going to come into a core climber, opposite knee to opposite elbow, and then pike your hips up high and get a stretch in that downward facing dog position. So we're going to do that again. Lower into a plank and go straight into a core climber, opposite knee to elbow on the inside, and then we're going to take it to the same side on the outside before pushing back into downward facing dog. So we want to lengthen down our spine here, pushing our hips behind us, pumping our heels a couple of times to get a nice stretch down through the back of hamstrings, opening up through shoulders. Restack. Same again. We go opposite knee to opposite elbow, same side and opposite before pushing back once again, downward facing dog. Take as long as you need here, so this is a good one to come back to. Drop into that plank position. We've got 4 core climbers, keeping your hips nice and low. There's no impact. We're really tapping into core strength. Push back into downward facing dog, focusing on pushing your hips back and trying to get those heels a little bit lower down to the ground. Making the most of that stretch. Drop back into the final plank and the final set of core climbers. We're on 5. Good. From here, you're going to bring your right foot in front. I'll twist around a little bit so you can see. So right foot in front, that leg comes, I guess, at like a 45-degree angle, but your hips are stacked. So we're going to lean into a stretch here. If it's enough of a stretch for you upright, then stay there. If you want to fall into that stretch and just deepen a little bit, then do that. And then it's our left foot. We're going to inch across to the right hand side to just deepen that stretch a little bit more, and just pause there for a second. Take a couple of deep breaths, allowing yourself to just melt into that stretch a little bit deeper. We're going to push back but come into a hip flexor stretch, so bottom of a lunge. Tuck your tailbone under and we're just stretching out our left hip flexor. We can increase that stretch by reaching high and tipping over. Straighten up, we're going for a rotation. So left hand goes on right knee, grow tall first and then look behind you. Before unwinding, hands go down on the ground. You can get one more downward facing dog in if you feel like you need it. Otherwise you could have fallen straight back into that original stretch. I think it's pigeon pose. Stay upright, so your hips are neutral and both facing forwards. Play around with that positioning of that front leg because you really want to get the stretch where you need it. Fall into that stretch if you can. So we'll take a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, just allowing yourself to just fall a little bit deeper into that stretch. And then play around with how that back foot is positioned. So we want to take it across to the left, which is going to increase that stretch once again. Any of these stretches, if they feel good, come back to it or push pause and just stay there for a little bit longer. I think quite often we just rush through the stretch component, but if we just take that time, tuck into the hip flexor stretch on this one, increase the stretch, you feel so much better for it. Tip yourself over a little bit, so we're just deepening that hip flexor stretch here. Good, we're stacking ourselves nice and straight again. Our right hand goes on top of your left knee or just to the side. Grow tall first and then look behind you so we get that nice rotation through lower back. Good, unwind. Nice, we're going to come back into child's pose and inch our fingers forward. You can take your hands across to the left, and if your fingertips only, you're going to be active in this position, pushing your heels, your hips back against your heels. Sorry, wrong way around. Get that nice lengthening down through the side of our torso on the right side. Inching your fingers forward here is going to give us a stretch through shoulders. Taking your hands out to the right hand side is going to get that nice lengthening down through the left. And we're fingertips only to really maximize that stretch. Coming back into the center, we're going to come forward and go straight into a press up before pushing back into child's pose. So press up. Wings can stay in to tap into triceps. This is my fourth. We're only doing 5. As you come forward this time, pop up onto your toes. See if you've got a nice slow controlled press up down to the floor. Hold just above. And then release. We're going to take palms of our hands behind us. Just going to lift into a back extension. Taking it nice and slow. We're going to scoot our hands forward and then lift up and squeeze our shoulder blades together. So we're doing 2 movements here. Back extension here with our palms facing the sky. You could even add in a little pulse if you want to make it into a bit more of an arm exercise. You release and relax down to the ground, extend your arms out in front of you, and then lift up into that V-dub stretch. Relax, palms facing the ceiling, lift up, pulse in, so thumb to thumb. Good, lower down, stretch your hands out in front of you, lift your chest off the ground, big squeeze of the shoulder blades at the top. Relax, lift up. Be really gentle with this, but if you have got more in it and you want to lift up a little bit higher, then go for it. Squeeze your glutes, activate through the core, extend your arms out in front. Big squeeze of the shoulder blades as you come into the top position of this stretch or switch on. Relax, this is our last one. Lift up, squeeze your glutes, activate through the core, palm to the ceiling. You're just going thumb to thumb. Good, relax. This is our last one. We lift up, big squeeze of the shoulder blades as we glide our elbows past our ribs, and then push back once again into child's pose. Now, we're going to do a Tabata set. So here we go. It is 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds rest. We're going to mix between 2 types of press ups. So we're going to go wide and we're going to move through it. So press up to the side, move your hands, come into the center, move your hands, go up to the side. It's distraction techniques really. If you've got sliders, you can do it with sliders. I'll do that on my next round. Come back into the center. Now, 10-second rest. So if you feel like you need to stretch out through the shoulders, you're just pushing hips back onto your heels. Opportunity to move a little bit faster on this one. So we're going to tuck our wings in and go for a tricep press up. You can also band up. So you have got a band or a loop band just above your elbows to support you through this one if you need to. If you're green light, aim for max reps in this set. If you're a red and just still trying to ease into it, then do that. So with sliders, your hands go on the sliders and this just helps us transition each time. So we take it out to the side, slide in, press up, slide to the other side. Good. Push back into child's pose. Stay on the sliders if you've got them. Keep your wings tucked in for that tricep press up. So, narrow. You can reach forward if you want to. Working through the shoulders a little bit more. You can tuck it underneath if you want to get more of a stretch component in this set. Good, pause. We've done 2 of each. We're going to turn it over for a glute bridge. So tucking your tailbone ever so slightly, drive your elbows into the ground and lift. Now, you can move through this nice and slow, especially for this first round, have an awareness of switching on through the glutes, flaring your knees ever so slightly. Perfect, here we go. We're going to alternate with a single leg glute bridge, so we're going to march it. As we come up, we're going to lift our knee towards our chest, lower back down, lift up, and lower back down, turning it into that marching glute bridge, so activating glutes on one side and just mixing it up a little bit. Perfect, pause. We're going back to that double glute bridge. If you have got a loop band, chuck it up above your knees. You're going to add a little flare at the top. So we lift, flare, in, and lower back down. Lift up, flare, in, lower back down. Keep those sliders handy because for the next round, we're going to use them. Lifting up, flare, lower back down. Just pop them underneath your heels. So 2 options. You can do this without the slider, or you can do it with. You can do the marching bridge, but we're going lifting up, extending, drawing back in, lowering down. Lifting up, extending, lowering back down. So I get a nice slide out, playing around a little bit with time under tension as I do so. If you are slider less, you can march it, or you can lift, extend, and lower. Hug knees to chest and just rock side to side. I'm going to turn that into a glute stretch, so opposite leg comes over your opposite knee and you're reaching through, drawing your knees through to your shoulders, getting that stretch into the glutes. Take a nice deep breath and relax. Change sides, opposite knee, opposite ankle over opposite knee. There we go. Drawing knees through towards your shoulder to increase that stretch. You can reach around onto the outside of your knee also. We're going to take both knees across to one side. You're looking in the opposite direction just to get that stretch through your back, and play around with where you take your knees on this one so you can get the stretch in different places depending on where your knees are positioned. We're going to take it across to the other side. Looking in the opposite direction here again. Take a nice deep breath in, exhale. Good. Hamstrings. And then just relax. You're just going to rock that knee side to side to just give your hip a little bit of a massage. Change sides. We'll start with that one this time. Before lifting that leg, coming into a hamstring stretch. Good, turn it over. We're on all fours for a cat-cow, so arch your spine to the sky. Sink through, getting that nice lengthening down through the front of your abdominal wall. Tuck your tailbone, look between your knees, tucking your chin. Reset. And then if you've got those sliders handy, you can reach forward, scoot down underneath and get a stretch in this position, pulling your shoulder away from your hand. You can do it without the sliders. So we reach forward first and then pull your shoulder away from your hand. You're thinking about hips going towards knees also. So if I'm without, you can take this forward. You reach past your knee. You're threading the needle in this position, and we can go one step further and just take that hand to the sky for an upper thoracic stretch. So we reach forwards, scoot your hand past your knee, get the stretch in this position, and then take it up for that thoracic opener, which is really nice. Pull back into child's pose, active with only fingertips on the ground. Give yourself a little wiggle, stretch where you need it. Come back onto all fours and just do one circle, forwards, clockwise, reset, anti-clockwise, Come back to sitting on your heels. You're taking one arm across for an arm stretch. And then changing sides. Clasping your hands behind you, drop them down towards the ground. Take right ear to right shoulder. Dropping chin down to chest. Left ear to left shoulder, and then just raise your hands ever so slightly. Now this wasn't a long workout, but top to toe it got us moving. So just goes to show, pinky to pinky in this position, thumb to thumb in the back, that sometimes you don't need a long one. Sometimes it's just nice to move and check in with how your body's feeling. If you're up for a little bit more, then check in with one of our other videos and go for it. But if this was enough for you today, if you just had enough time for that bite-sized workout, then hopefully that's hit the spot.